Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America as we kick off another week on another gorgeous day. As you can see, horses behind me are enjoying a sunny, warm morning here at Saratoga, which will turn into a similar afternoon. So if you're headed up, you have a nice day of racing ahead and leading into a very good weekend, which we'll hit on a little bit later on. But we're going to talk a little bit later on the show with a couple of the folks from the Saratoga Special, Alex Diconza and Julia Reedy, who are part of the intern staff there. That over the years, many of the interns from the Saratoga Special have gone on to Travis Stone, Gabby Gaudet, and we will see what will happen with Alex and Julia, but we'll talk with them a little bit later on. Tom Amelo will also join us with some horses to watch and some betting strategy, all of that coming up. But very happy to be joined, top of the show, our friend Mark Casse, who has a very big weekend coming up here at the Alabama, up at Woodbine with the Kings Plate. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
Thanks for coming. We really appreciate it because it is a busy week. And I just want to touch on, because we had the conversation at the end of the last show, reflect a little bit on Tepin and just, the career. I probably should have pulled up a couple of replays of her, but I had a whole list of replays already. But, yeah, she was phenomenal.
She was amazing. As I said previously, maybe the best race she ever ran in her life was when she got beat by Tourist, because she was kind of out of her element. She always wanted to be pretty close to the pace, and she was back. He slipped along the rail, and she almost still ran him down. But I knew she was great, and I think probably now I realize, even as each day goes by, how great she is or was. It's so disappointing that she passed away a couple of years ago. Turns out she's a pretty good broodmare too.
And what was the decision-making process to head over to England?
Honestly, Mr. Masterson was really on it. We kind of felt like we had done all we could do here. It was a dream of his, and it was amazing. My wife, she calls it the Kentucky Derby on steroids.
And when you sat down, you talked a little bit about getting a chance to meet the Queen. That had to be nice.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the, horse racing's been very good to me. It's allowed me to meet a lot of successful, great people. And one thing about horse racing, you can learn something. You can sit there and have, be surrounded by billionaires and still learn something from a hot walker or a groom. That's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
And the billionaire will go ask the groom what he thinks. So, and it's just because we all love the horses. So it's about the love of the horse. And look, Saratoga has been my life since I was a little boy. And so a lot of memories here. Our 4,000th win came a couple of weeks ago. And I think that those kind of milestones cause a lot of reflection. And there's a lot of, I watched Ballot Appeal win, I think, the Dwyer over at the quarter pole. I watched Secretariat get beat by Onion. I used to play out in Clay's Court. I used to play football with Alan Jerkins. So there's a lot.
Which I guess was a big game. Alan Jerkins would get a whole group together.
I have a funny story. So he was on the other team, and he went running by me, and I went to tag him, and I pulled his pants down. He didn't stop. He just kept hopping. That's how competitive he was. I was like, oh. But not very many people. Yeah, that was funny.
And for folks who are new to the show, they're new to racing, and I always think we get those kind of people during Saratoga. We talked to you about this before. Obviously, there's a family link, but just remind people how you got into the game.
So my father was taken to Keeneland when he was 18 by his father, my grandfather, obviously, and they sold fire equipment in Indianapolis. But my grandfather, who unfortunately passed away when I was very young, took my dad, and my dad got the bug. And then we moved. My dad moved our family to Ocala, horse country, when I was 5. And then, some of my fondest memories are up here when I was 10 or 11. There was nothing better than walking. We would stay near Fasig-Tipton. We had a big bus. Now, my dad and I would walk down. You'd wait on the racing form to come the night before.
I remember.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest times. I always said when I was a little boy, the worst day of the week was Sunday because there was no racing form.
Unless you headed over to Green Mountain.
I've been to Green Mountain on many occasions. My dad had us everywhere.
Yeah,
Great Barrington Fair.
We were talking about the fairs the other day. I think the only time I went was Northampton for Zippy Chippy's 100th loss, which had a big crowd, but the fair was a lot of fun. It was 4 days after I'd seen a grade 1 here on closing day and went and saw Zippy
My
Chippy.
first winter was at the Northampton Fair.
Oh, you're kidding.
Solid rocket. Yeah. When I was 17.
Oh, wow.
My dad, we went, Massachusetts was the only place you could get a trainer's license at 17. So that's where I got it.
Excellent. I missed the fair. So those were, as I say,
my dad
they were
loved
a lot
them.
of fun. Yeah.
We would, we had a big horse van, and we would sleep up in the peak. And
it was a different era, but talk a little bit about changes at Saratoga over the years. I mean, it's certainly, I've seen it, and you being on the backside all those years, you've seen it as well.
I think there's changes, lots of changes, but it's still the same too. I can remember now I get to sit in the boxes and watch the races. When I was like 10 or 12, I would stand up on the rail up on the 3rd floor, and if I went there, I wouldn't move, because if you lost your spot, I'm still short. I couldn't see anything, so I would sit there. But now for me, I get to sit in the boxes. So that's changed. But, there's been changes, but not a lot. It's still, there's something about it.
No, the aura is just, and I say, and this has been true in Saratoga for years, I always say what's special about this place is not just the track here, it's what's outside the fence. You're downtown eating dinner, and the folks at the next table are talking about the double A hit or what they're playing tomorrow.
We if we go to dinner and walk down the road, the street, a lot of people will stop and talk to us, and that's kind of unique. You go to Del Mar, I love Del Mar, it's nice, but right outside they really don't understand. You get the same kind of thing at Keeneland,
I was going to say,
and Churchill. There's
Oaklawn, I think maybe a little bit too.
Oh, Oaklawn's big too. Yeah, Oaklawn. So that's, it's nice to be where horses can.
Yeah.
And that's definitely here.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's hit on some of the action you have coming up, and we'll review some of the races that you've had. Talk about, it's been a great season for you so far, and we'll hit on a couple of nice stakes wins. But everybody comes in with expectations. I'm assuming it's kind of fulfilling your expectations, because again, so far it's been a really nice.
We had a wonderful Belmont, the Belmont 4 days.
Yeah.
And then we came back with a really good, what was that, the 4th of July. Yeah. And I was like, can they not add those stats? Because I was a little afraid maybe we'd moved a little too quick. But we've been fortunate that we've done well in this meet. I kind of changed my strategy a little bit a few years ago. I loved this place, and it was so frustrating because it would eat me up. And if you know me very well, you know that we have a saying, when you lose, you learn. I was like, I'm not going to keep this up. I got to do this. And we've been lucky the last few years. Even before that, we were doing well. We just weren't winning. We bring mostly our better horses, and this is tough. It's not easy.
And so again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the 4,000 career victory as well. That says a lot. And we'll see if we can add to those this weekend. In the Alabama, you have a couple, and we'll start out with Nitrogen. I pulled up both of the last couple of races because they both play. I am really excited to see Nitrogen and what she does on Saturday. We're going to go back to that Belmont Stakes weekend, the Wonder Again, which was off the turf, only a field of 3, but Nitrogen wins by a chart margin of 17 lengths on the dirt. And then we'll watch the follow-up in the Belmont Oaks, where she just gets caught late by Fionn. Nitrogen in that videotape will be the number 7. Talk a little bit about these two races and coming out of these two, the decision to go to the Alabama on Saturday.
Well, obviously she beat a small field, and not, look, it wasn't a quality field when it scratched off the grass. To me, the amazing part was how fast she ran, and with the ease she did it. We always, we had a good comparison too. The Met Mile went right after and went 1/5 of a second faster. So I was just amazed how fast and how easy she ran. Here, unfortunately, she gets beat right at the wire. We had a bit of a dilemma. We felt like we couldn't, speed had been holding very well, and we felt that if we let Chad's filly get away, she would beat us.
Yeah.
And so we probably had her a little closer to the pace. But if we leave her alone, she wins. And it turns out, Flavian, a great ride by Flavian, caught us right at the wire. So it was a good race. Not maybe one of her best, but it was good. But I already had in my mind, I wanted to go to the Alabama. My concern was, was her performance just because of the slop? But I've come back and I've worked her twice on the dirt, and I don't think it matters. I think her dirt works have been great. So she's ready. We've got Lucara. Doesn't look like there's a lot of speed.
We'll watch her win the Acorn here on the front end, so talk a little bit about her as well.
Yeah, her race, she didn't handle the track at all at Churchill in the Oaks. She came back. Dylan said he knew he was going to be tough as soon as she ran a quarter of a mile. He said she was handling it well. She's, I believe she's 2 for 2 here at Saratoga.
2 for 3.
2 for 3. She got beat.
I'm looking in the maiden race last year, ran 4th.
Oh, you're right. And then she came back and won impressively when she stretched out a little bit. It was a great race. It's crazy. I've been doing this for 47 years, and to lose a race the way we lost this race, it was about 10 o'clock. We were giving her a bath, and we had no idea that we share a barn with Mike Maker. We have 2 barns. We have a larger barn, smaller barn. We had put her in there because that's where she was as a 2-year-old, and she loves it. And they came to us at about 10 o'clock and said, we're going to quarantine that barn. And so we were scratched. That was unfortunate. And now we're going, I had her in a really nice pattern where she was running about every 5 weeks. Now we've got to ask her to go 1.25 miles off of a pretty long layoff. So there's concern there. That's the bad news. The good news is I don't think there's a lot of speed in there. She's going to make the lead. I wouldn't be shocked if Nitrogen's laying right off of her. Nitrogen's got a little speed herself. So the good news is, knock on wood, both of them are training very well. We had a great morning this morning, and we're ready to go. It's going to be, I think, of course, we have the King's Plate, and I think they run 10 minutes apart. I wish I could. It would have been nice if we could have separated a little. Yeah. So it's going to be an intense 30 minutes.
And I asked you when you sat down, and you said you're sticking here.
First time. I cannot remember missing a Queen's Plate, but we're going to miss this one.
Yeah, when I looked saw those 2 horses, I thought, maybe he sticks here with Nitrogen.
Well, as I alluded to earlier, when I was a little boy, we'd go and get to racing for him, and the Alabama is the Alabama. Yeah. And look, I take nothing away from the King's Plate or the Queen's Plate. We've been fortunate to win it a few times. Never won the Alabama. We're going to give it a really good try here, and I would like to be here for that.
As I said, I'm really excited to see what Nitrogen does with that, great turf record and on the dirt. And I jumped on board. I've liked the car the whole season because I was in the studio doing the handicapping show when she won the seasonal debut, the Suncoast down at Tampa. And in the winner's circle down there, you kind of said, the last race, the Breeders' Cup, I'm forgiving that a little bit. And I think this is more indicative. And I jumped on board her right after that Tampa race to kick off the season this year.
Well, yeah. And then what happened? We went to the Devona Dale, I believe it was. But I ran her back in 3 weeks.
Correct.
And I had told the farmers, I said, look, she's probably going to get beat here because we're going to shorten her up to a mile. But I said, they wanted to win the Ashland. I said, this will set her up. I like the timing for the Ashland. So that's, so she's done everything. The only time she hasn't shown up this year was in the Oaks. And I don't think she handled the track.
Wanted to win the Ashland. Mission accomplished there. So 2 nice runners coming up in the Alabama. We'll have to have our former colleague Mike Beach talk to you about the Alabama as well. It's his favorite race every year, has been for years, and he always has good thoughts on the Alabama and the history and whatnot. And see if you get your name popped up there with Nitrogen and Lacara on Saturday afternoon. But the aforementioned Kings Plate, wanted to talk about that as well. We had Johnny Velasquez in a few weeks ago after winning on No Time. He was pretty pleased with the effort on No Time in the Woodbine Oaks. We're going to take a look at that. No Time as a filly is the favorite on Saturday in the Kings Plate. You've won the race before with a filly, Wonder Godot.
Twice.
Johnny was
Lexi Lou and Wonder Godot.
Oh, correct. Johnny Velasquez was on board Wonder Godot and on board for this victory again in the Oaks on No Time. What was the decision process coming out of it? Well, after I saw this, I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse in the King's Plate. So what was the decision process to go Saturday against the boys?
Well, you alluded to, we've had great success with the girls have had great success in the Kings.
4 of the last 10, according to been fillies.
That all, why that all changed about 10 years ago. They would run the Oaks about 2 weeks before the King's Plate, and it was just and it was early. They would run it in June or something. Now we get 4 weeks, I believe, and it makes a big difference. So a lot of them weren't even attempting it, but she ran faster than the boys. I think the mile and a quarter is going to help her. She got really unlucky in the Celine, her race before. I thought she should have won that. She had just a terrible trip. In fact, Johnny came to see me maybe into my tack room or my office about 10 days before the Oaks. And I said, you're going up to ride for us. And he I don't think he even knew. I said, I think you got a big shot to win the Oaks. The interesting thing, we ran first, second, and third. I brought the second and third back finisher. They ran last week in the Bison City, which is the second leg of the Canadian Filly Triple Crown, and they ran 1-2 again. So the form held up very well. I think we have as good a shot as anybody, and so we'll see.
Yeah, Johnny, when
I'm sending in a deputy to take over for me. Gary Barber's flying in, so we'll let him. We'll let him. He's been there for, I think he wasn't there for Lexi Lou. But he was there for Wonder Godot.
Yeah, when Johnny
and Paramount Prince
was here, he said he was in your office, and you were fairly confident he was going up to ride a good one. Yep. Also on Saturday, have Ashley's Archer entered in the King's Plate. We're going to go back and look at an allowance optional claimer July 13th. Going to run second. Special session, the 3 wins. Number 7, Ashley's Archer is second. What are your expectations for that one on Saturday?
Yeah, this was a pretty tough race. The white horse there was supposed to be the next coming. I think we were probably a little close to the pace. They ran fairly fast. Ashley's Archer had missed some time. He had a quarter crack. I think I won that race. I think that might have been special session.
Yeah, special session 1.
Yeah.
Ashley's Archer ran
special
second there by a
session
neck.
is the half brother to Sir Winston.
Oh,
But anyways,
there you go.
I think that horse is going to really benefit from that race. We kind of rushed him to run in that race. Like I said, he missed some time because of quarter crack. He's trained really well since. He's going to run. I'd be shocked if he doesn't run well.
And I will note that was against older. A special session, I'm assuming, is older.
He's a 3-year-old, but it was an older, and it was a good race.
Okay.
And they ran fairly fast. Special session is a stake horse himself. He's going to come back and run in the Toronto Cup here soon, but he's a half brother to Sir Winston.
Yeah, very good.
Not a Canadian bred. That's why he's not in
there.
There
You go. And again, you have to be an Ontario bred, or is it Canadian bred?
Canadian.
No,
Canadian.
Bred, yeah.
Well, no, there are races for only Ontarios.
Okay.
But not this race is open to Canada.
Okay. And as I said at the top, wanted to show a couple of nice wins earlier in the meet, and I wanted to go back really fairly recently. August 3rd, the Troy Bring the Band Back Home. It's going to be the number 3 horse here. Second win at Saratoga this summer, the Belmont, the July 4th, and then this August 3rd victory back-to-back. And it ended a drought for Javier Castellano. And he was kind of humble in the winner's circle. It was interesting to hear him. He had a good day out of town recently. Mm-hmm. But talk a little bit about this one. And it sounds like you maybe headed up to Canada next with Bring the Band Back Home.
Yes. So, I was a little concerned. He had run such a huge race, ran 109 Beyer, 1/5 off at the time the world record. It's just got beaten down at Ellis Park, but ran really well. He doesn't handle heat very well. I almost didn't run him. If it was going to be hot, I was going to run him in the Troy. But we got a pretty good, so I ran him. I think he bounced a little. He won, but he still wasn't his best effort. So now I'm going to send him to Woodbine and run him. This will be the only year. In the Arctic, normally runs going 3/4 on the main turf, but there's construction going on. So this year, in the Arctic, it's going to be 5/8 on the inner turf. And I think that it's cool weather, and I think it'll set him up really well for Del Mar.
Yeah. And I have to ask, it's a live oak plantation runner, so there's no soup in there. Where'd the name come from?
Mrs. Weber was explaining that her parents would say, you had to be home early. She would go out, and she said, well, I'll just bring the band home. That's what I heard. So I like that. I don't know.
That works for me. Got to also show Saratoga Special. It's our friends at West Point. And we had Jason Blewett early, who said before the debut victory, said, watch out for Ewing. He got that nicely on July 5th, and then comes back in only the second career start, wins the Saratoga Special. And beat Obliteration, who's obviously a very good one for Steve Asmussen, but this was some performance. Ewing now 2 for 2.
Yeah, this was interesting. I kind of wanted to see him settle, but he broke about, he probably lost 3 or 4 lengths right at the start, but then Jose said he just took off with him. I figured the official half was 45-1. I think he probably went somewhere around 44-3, given 44-2. Yeah. So, late they were tired coming home, but it was just from those early fractions. I'm going to do something similar that I did with Classic Empire, in that I tried to run Classic Empire up here in the Hopeful, and he took a right-hand turn and dropped IRAD, but I took him right from here and ran him in the Breeders' Futurity. And that's what I'm going to do with Ewing. I'm going to take him, wait a little bit, and run him. I want to try to get a 2-turn race in and see whether it would set him up nice for the Breeders' Cup if he's good enough. I just think Keeneland, they have that short stretch speed, plays well for it, and it's a good next step. I did that with Wonder Wheel and the Alcibiades. So it's something that I try to do. And then, so that's the plan for him. And then we have another really good colt called Curtain Call.
Oh, right.
And we're going to run him in the Hopeful. So we'll keep those 2 separated.
Excellent. And I just have to ask, because today you have Disco Star in the New York Stallion Series. And we're going to watch the second place finish for this one in the Susie O'Kane back on July 16th. Number 2, Mommy's Turn, is going to win. It's going to be number 9, Disco Star, running second. I like Disco Star today, but what are your thoughts?
Disco Star's kind of funny. 5.5 is too short. And we were concerned maybe this is a little too far. But I thought she ran well. Obviously, the winner was the best. The biggest problem here and what Dylan's going to have to do is he's going to have to work out a good trip. The one hole, she doesn't have the speed. If you ask her to go early, she won't run. So he's going to have to nurse her along, try to, and then when she wants to come with her run, he's going to need some place to go. She's really good. The best race she ever ran was at Aqueduct, where we run 3/4 on the grass. And Belmont will once Belmont gets open. But 5.5 is a little short for her. I think today's a mile. Yeah. Mile should be ideal as long as she can work out a pretty good trip.
And just before we let you go, I have to wrap up, but let's get an update on Sandman. So I didn't call for it. Probably should have, though. It was a lot of fun. We were at Gulfstream for the Florida Derby, but we're standing in the alleyway there because the races were over and the Arkansas Derby was on the big screen, and Tommy Bellhouse and Jason Blewett were there, and the whole crowd got into it. It was a great victory in the Arkansas Derby for Sandman, but it looks like you may be changing things up, trying something new.
The problem with Sandman is he needs pace. And if you don't give him pace, he needs help. He's kind of one-dimensional. Yeah. He just needs, and Jose's always said, and I think Johnny said he lost focus in the Preakness. I think he just spins his wheels when you really ask him. Those horses normally are grass horses. So we took him and we worked him on the grass the other day. The exercise rider was sick, so I called Jose at 5:30 in the morning. I said, Jose, I hate to make you do this, but I want you to come work this horse. So I said, I just want to go easy. And I said, cluck to him at the 8th pole. I want to see if he'll level out and how he goes. So he kind of went, he thought we were going to run in the Derby, because he's going to a new place. He pranced all the way over there. He's a real show off, everybody, they love him and he's a show off. So he breaks off and he wanted him to go, and Jose's slowing him down. And then down the lane, you could really see in the last 1/8 of a mile that Jose said, I never even clucked to him. And he worked well. If you know Jose very well, I know it, obviously I know him well, and he doesn't say much, but he was just so excited. He was so excited, it got me excited.
And the game plan is now Kentucky Downs?
Yes, we're going to run in the Nashville Derby. $3.5 million going 1 mile and 5/16, which I don't, that shouldn't be a problem. He thought too, when he worked him, he said he could feel the acceleration in him more. So we'll see.
Looking forward to it. And if he's a show off, it works out well because he gets exposed regularly to Griffin Johnson's 14 million followers now. So
they're both handsome guys. I'm not sure which one's more handsome, Griffin or Sandman, but they do attract quite a crowd.
It's been a kind of a fun addition for the West Point folks to bring in the social media star there. I'm sure.
And then we have Metallica.
Exactly.
So it's great for racing though. There are a lot of fans. I have one of the guys that's worked for me 47 years. His daughter has a little thing for Griffin, and so they had her and the girlfriends, 15 girls, were watching the Preakness, and they were all excited. Well, now comes the Belmont, and he told me, Mitch said there were 30 girls watching the Belmont. I said, well, we didn't even have a horse in the Belmont, and he said no, but now they love horse racing.
Mission accomplished.
You got it.
There you go. Gotta love that. Mark, as always, we appreciate the visit. Again, it's always busy for the horsemen up here, so whenever folks can come over, we really appreciate it. But nice to get some insights on some of the runners you have coming up and reviews and looking forward to some of the nice winners you've had already. Great meet so far. Keep it up. Good luck.
Going to try. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more on Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Seth.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred Racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit
Welcome back to Racing Across America, live from our Clare Court location on a fun Saturday, kicking off Alabama week. Thanks again to Mark Casse for taking the time. And that leads into also thanks for taking the time. Part of the Saratoga Special staff, we have a couple of the writers for the special this year that I see sitting right in front of me every day in the press box. On my immediate right, Alex Diconza, and a little further down, Julia Reedy. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Happy to have you. And we'll start out, Julia, I'll start with you. How long have you been writing for the special?
This will now be my second year writing for the special.
Very good. And Alex?
This is my third year, just finishing up.
And we had you in a couple of years ago with the youth and the elder on both sides of the Saratoga Special staff. So if I'm not mistaken, when you started, you couldn't drive, right?
Correct. I was 16. So I just turned 16 when I started. So I had a lot of ways to go, but I can now. So I can get up here early in the morning, come back late, and I don't have to give my parents the burden of driving up and back every day.
So what was the impetus for you, trying to get in with the Saratoga Special?
I just wanted a job that I'd be excited about throughout the summer. And I live 20 minutes away from here, and I've been coming here all my life. So I figured, why not try for an internship there? And I saw this was one of the first ones that came up, and I knew it was for college kids, but I just figured, I've been a long-time fan of the sport. I figured myself kind of knowledgeable about it too. So I just gave it a shot, and it worked out. So I couldn't be more grateful.
They pulled you in with enthusiasm, and you've certainly worked out over the last few years. Julia, what got you involved with the Saratoga Special?
Well, I studied journalism in college, so I was looking for a journalism internship, and I love Saratoga. I didn't go to school too far away from here. I went to Syracuse University, so love Saratoga, love horse racing, and this just kind of fit it perfectly.
Are you from the area?
No, I'm actually from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we didn't mention the school, but I appreciate it. Syracuse and the Newhouse School. So we maybe have that in town. It's like to have the Syracuse grads in here, particularly from the Newhouse School. So is this possibly a career for you?
It might be. We'll see. Everything's still up in the air, but this has just been so much fun, and I love doing it. So I wouldn't be too mad if I did this for the rest of my life.
And I'm sure both of you guys are familiar with the roster of Saratoga Special interns who have gone on to, Gabby Gaudet, I mentioned earlier, Travis Stone, our colleague Brian Addo, Pete Fornatal was working for the special for a while. And so that has to make you feel good if you're thinking, maybe I'll think about this as a career. It's a nice little check mark on the resume.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, just through the special, we have so many great connections, and everyone's been so great to us. So definitely, it's good to have those people in our corner.
So you're in for the rest of the season, correct?
Yes, I will be.
Whereas Alec is heading to Cornell to kick things off for college, and that's going to happen this weekend. You have weekends planned to come back?
Unfortunately, they had an entire week to schedule 2 required orientation events, and one of them happens to be on Travers Day, so can't make it back for that. And they also hold classes on Labor Day, so it's unfortunate, but it's my first Travers that I'm missing in a few years. But it's a one-time occurrence. It's just because there's a orientation for freshmen, so next year I'll be able to be here, so that'll be great.
Well, we'll miss you because, as I say, I sit up in that second row. I'm looking over, and all of you guys are nicely ensconced in the first row, which I will say, it's lucky at the first row that you're here, not when I first started going up to the press box when it actually used to have a big crowd there. But print media has kind of disappeared. So I'm happy to have people taking those seats in the front row. And you guys are up there all day long and bouncing back and forth to the winner's circle and around the track, getting stories. Julia, I'll ask you, and having sat in the press box and watched the interns come every year and sit wherever they're located, it's clear, and I think even Tom Law and the Clancy brothers will say, there's no real kind of orientation. You get thrown into the fire from day one, it seems like.
We do. There are certainly no training wheels, and you're kind of thrown into the deep end, but I honestly think that that's the best way to learn. And I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it any other way.
It used to be the first day there'd be like 10 interns, and by the third day there'd be 4 of them. The four would stick. But what was your experience like when you started?
It was tough. I mean, I had absolutely no experience in this kind of thing, and then there were 2 new interns that year. There weren't any returning interns my first year, so there was nobody to really ask, like, hey, what's going on? And after 2 races, Tom was like, okay, go do your thing now. And I was like, what thing is there to do? So I just did my best. I talked to as many people as I could. I realized which people I actually did have to talk to. And I read some past issues, kind of figured out the style. And by the end of the first week, you really are starting to get the hang of it. And now I can't even imagine not doing it. So awesome.
Pulled up a shot of today's the cover to today's special, and so folks can look at that. But then I also went in and pulled up a little shot of your bylines. And Julia, talk a little bit about that. The first time you opened the paper and saw your name in it.
Oh, well, it's honestly so surreal. It's just such a great feeling. And I have to say that when I came in, I'm really lucky because I had Alec, and Alec is sort of my guru, and he took me under his wing. So he taught me everything that I now know.
Julia's done just fine on her own. Yeah.
But it's a great feeling to open up the paper and to see your byline in there and then have people recognize you for it. It's just great.
Yeah. Alec, what was it like the first time you saw your name? Because you're a kid as well. You're a 16-year-old, and now here you are in print.
Yeah, it was so cool. I mean, I read the special a few years when I was little, and so to open it and see my name in it and my own writing, it's just a weird feeling, but it's also like an accomplished feeling. Like you're contributing to something that's making so many people happy. Like a lot of people love the special, and it's awesome when you tell people you work for it and they recognize your name and they see you in the paper. It's so much fun.
Take us through, as I say, I see you guys sitting in your seats and obviously working there, but bouncing back and forth in the winner's circle. When I'm down in the winner's circle, you guys are down there getting quotes and whatnot. So take us through a typical day as far as what you're doing to get content. And is it assigned what races you were going to cover? What's a day like for you over on the front side?
So typically after we're done with our morning stuff, which is more assigned than our afternoon work, we get to the races maybe half an hour ahead of time. We're down. We try to be outside as much as possible, because to try to get as many stories as possible, see as many people. Sometimes on deadline days like Friday, we're forced to be in the press box to get as much work done as we can. But Yeah, I mean, there's no real assigned races that we do other than stakes. It's more just seeing which connections win. If they're new faces, if they're people we don't talk to a lot, we'll get them. Like when it's a trainer's first win of the meet, we'll try to get quotes from them. Or when there's like a memorial race or like a 100th birthday race, we'll talk to those people just for different voices,
Sure.
you know, because we talk to some of the same people a lot for stakes previews, because a lot of the same people have the favorites in those races. But even just small races like claiming races, there's typically a story. So we're just down trying to find the people, and I think we do a pretty good job of it. So
Yeah, that's what this special has been all about. And I said, unfortunately, print media has kind of cut back on racing coverage, but the Saratoga Special is the 25th year. Again, you can pick it up around town. You can catch it online. This is horseracing.com. You can certainly pick up copies on track as well. And Julia, Alec talked about the mornings. What are you guys doing out in the mornings?
In the mornings, well, luckily we're a group of interns that get a golf cart. I know a few years ago that wasn't the case. There are a few mornings where we do have to walk around, but luckily it's not too hot in the morning. So, but we'll just drive around if we're doing a preview or something, and we'll talk to the trainers, try to get a sense of how they're feeling going into a race. And then we'll collect everything we need to collect, and then we go back to the office and we just kind of grind it out and try to finish our previews before races or before deadline.
So you say go back to the office. So part of the day you're essentially across the street over by the Facing Tipped in the Saratoga Special office.
Yeah, very convenient place too, especially for the sales where we're going back and forth sometimes.
It's great.
Oh, that's interesting. So you guys were covering the sales as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did that go?
Busy for sure.
Because it was fireworks the whole 4 days. Did you cover the New York Red Sale too?
Yes.
So the whole 4 days were kind of fireworks.
Yeah, lots of records shattered. So we were all over the place. But again, it's great experience. So we wouldn't trade it for the world.
So with the sales, are you guys bouncing around and talking to the, find out who the buyer is and go, scout down the buyer and get some quotes on why they wanted to spend $1.5 million?
Yeah, buyers, consigners. That's mostly who we try to get when we're at the sales.
And I will also alert you that, again, having been up in the press box for many years now, looking at the interns, going to the office, much easier now a block away than it used to. I mean, I had a television production company downtown on Broadway, and I remember when the Saratoga Special was up over where Impressions is now in the so that would have been a haul if you had to go back there every day, certainly. So talk a little bit about now the day ends. So there's your morning, you go to the office, you're writing during the day and bouncing around to the winner's circle around the track. What's post races like? You go back to the office and get some work done there as well?
Yeah, so we're on deadlines Tuesday nights and Friday nights. So on a Friday night, we'll go back to the office. We're really lucky because we get dinner from 9 Miles East and Neighborhood Kitchen. So I'm typically the one that goes to pick it up, and happily so. I love picking up food, so bring that back to the office, and then if our writing isn't already done, we'll do that, and then we'll start proofing the papers. We have them printed out. We all get a red pen, and we try to find as many mistakes as we can before it goes to print.
Excellent. And I noticed that, again, as compared to when I first was reading the special and whatnot, the technology has changed it completely, because it would have to go someplace down in Latham, I think, and get printed and come back. Now I was on last night kind of looking for your bylines there, and I checked fairly late, the middle of early morning essentially, but it was already up. Today's edition. So the technology has changed things clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy on a Tuesday night when there's not racing. We can get the paper done pretty early. Like, we were sent home at 9:30.
That's an early night for us.
Very early. So
I like how you said, it was 9:30. Woo! So most people are out there going, I left work at 5.
Well, we love it. You know, it's hours
so
that we
fun.
would love to spend there.
Yeah. So if 9:30 is a break on Friday night, what's that like?
Typically 11:30. Yeah. And during sales, it's sometimes around midnight, but who's counting? Not me.
Yeah.
Oh, and sales was also the 6 straight days.
Yes.
So is that as tiring. I don't know what the right word as it sounds, as compared to twice a week was the 6th straight day. When you got done with the 6th day, it was like, oof, that was a haul.
I mean, I felt like I had a lot of energy throughout. You know, I wasn't as tired as I thought I was going to be. I mean, was it kind of relief a little bit? But I mean, it's just so much fun that it's not very exhaustive.
Yeah, I mean, by the 5th or 6th day, you're thinking like a couple more days of proofing, and then we're out of the deadline worries for a few more days, and then but I mean, it's, again, as Julia said, it's so much fun throughout that you don't really notice it too much. And I mean, I wouldn't be too upset if they went back to every day. Like,
No.
like I'd still do it. So yeah, it's so much fun, and you don't really feel it.
Check with Tom and Joe and Sean.
Oh yeah, that won't actually happen. But if they did, we'd still be here. So
that's great to hear that you're having fun, because it should be fun. I mean, you're at the races every day, and if you're fans of horses and racing, where would you rather be? And then you add to it by producing the paper and giving the racing community that special thing, literally, that we've had for 25 years now. So congratulations on being part of the team. Alec, we're going to miss you.
yeah, I'll miss you guys.
And Julia, I have to ask, is Marshall Street still the same?
It is. I think a few restaurants have come and gone during that time, and actually we lost a few. I think Shirt World, a few of the merchandise stores, but I mean, for the most part, still that Marshall Street vibe and energy. So
that's what we like to hear from the old SU days. A lot of time spent on the block around Marshall Street was okay. That was mostly food. It was more of the bars around the corner, or Fridays and Saturday nights. But if you've never been and you're going out to the Dome, make a Marshall Street visit if you head out to SU. Appreciate the visit, though. And again, Alec, we'll miss you. Have fun at college.
Thanks.
Julia, good luck going forward.
Thank
and
you.
then with the rest of the meet and whatever comes up after that. And I'll see you up in the press box.
Absolutely.
See you then.
Thanks
you.
again for having us.
Happy to.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Tom Amelo. Again, we'll do a little horses to watch, some betting strategy, and more. Stay tuned. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your #1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly, too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back. It's Racing Across America on a Wednesday morning, and that means a visit from our friend Tom Amelo. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. And I want to tell you, I was watching your last segment, and it brought to my mind something that I hope you remember, and I know some of our fans out there remember. Do you remember the Broadway play in the film Bye Bye Birdie?
Yes. And Margaret? Of course I remember.
Kids, I don't know what's wrong with these kids today, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're looking at those two kids, there's not much wrong with them and the kids, the other kids who were working for the special.
I agree
and
totally.
So, you know, way too often we think of the negative news, but there's nothing wrong. You know, I was 30 years in high school, and there were kids when I started in 19 teaching. Yeah, 30 years in high school. That's right, teaching. And they were kids when I started, you know, my first year. And the only thing that was different, I kept getting older and they kept being kids. And, you know, they got to be kids, right?
You're absolutely right, though. And it's been that way over the years. I said the special, they throw them right into the fire. Sure. And so it used to be, now they have a more select group. I think they you know, give a test early or something, but it used to be about 10 of them would show up, and 4 days later to be 4 of them.
Wow. Yeah.
But there was 4 really solid, really, you know, Gabby Goddard is a stuff.
Like getting into RPI. You can all get in, but you all can't get out.
But you're absolutely right. Great. And Alec, who kind of kicked things off when he was 16 years old 3 years ago.
It's great to watch them grow.
You are very correct.
So
let's. We were talking, you know, in anticipation of coming on, and obviously one of the news items of the week was the situation with the starting gate in the wrong place, and you know, the follow up to me was, as I say, a little bit anemic, perhaps, but
great word to describe. Well, I have 3 questions. My first question was. This happened 7 years ago with Some Like It Brown. So my question would be, what protocol, if any, was instituted after the Some Like It Brown? And if not, how come? That's number 1. Number 2, back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I was at the Marshfield Fair, and they were running thoroughbreds, and they ran a race. And immediately after the race, or after they crossed the line and they were still galloping out, the announcer got on the line and he said, the stewards have declared no race. It seems that the gate was moved. They found out about it and they immediately called for refunds to everybody. Now, that was the day when everybody had a ticket, and immediately when they crossed the line, everybody threw their ticket on the ground, and I'd never seen such a bunch of stoopers in my life trying to find tickets to refund. So my question would be, why did they consider, or was there any consideration about a no race? And the last question I have is, you know, we always want the quick official so we can pay people. So my question is, are the stewards in New York State allowed to not call a race official immediately and to deliberate like they do with an inquiry? Now, we've seen inquiries go 15, 20 minutes. And so my question, I would have been happy if they said, holy smokes, what are we going to do? We will not declare this official until we do a thorough deliberation and then deal with it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they did what they did, and we're all living with the fallout. I mean, I was at dinner or lunch yesterday with a guy who was happy as a clam because he had the number.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing that I saw in the world of Twitter, and I don't know if you saw it, but somebody said that, or wrote that the stewards have declared the race official and also declared that Charles J. would have hung if the race was not the extra furlong and never would have made it.
Charles J. being, of course, it was coming like a rocket at the end.
Right. So, I mean, those are my questions.
Yeah, I think they're all valid. And I wish some of those were addressed in the comments that were made afterwards. It was a little more of an explanation. It was kind of like, sorry, we'll try to do better next time. And that needed a little more oomph, I think.
Let's look at some races.
Well, I broke down because you mentioned something.
Oh.
Are there stoopers anymore?
There are.
Are there really?
Yeah, but they're looking in the cans.
Okay.
Because there are very few tickets on the ground.
Yeah, and if people don't know, and younger people may not realize, at the end of the day, it used to be people. I did it 2 or 3 times just to see, and actually had a bunch of winning tickets, and I would have kept it up, but it was too much work. But people would walk around with a bag at the end of the day and just pick up tickets off the ground and then go home and kind of look at the newspaper. Yeah. And then once you had the machines, you could stick the ticket in. Oh, that would save work. Yeah, but at the end of the day, people would pick up a bag full of tickets to see if people had dropped winners during the day, and they were called stoopers because they stooped. Well, the absolute best were the guys who could turn tickets with their toes, with their shoes on. They could flip. They could, because the tickets, the humidity bent the tickets once they laid on the ground. For these guys were good. Yeah, but I until you mentioned that, I thought stoopers. Another part of the game gone to history. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we missed that one as much as some of the other ones. All right, let's get to some horses to watch. You have some thoughts going back to August 7th. Yep. We're going to take a look at a few horses coming out of the 6th race on the 7th. You see there the list, the 3, the 4, the 9. We're going to take a look at. Give us some thoughts on that 6th race on August 7th. Yeah, I want to thank the boys for the nice graphic. I appreciate that. You can thank me. Thank you, Tess. We're focusing on the number 3 here. She's at the back of the pack right now and making some forward moves. She's off poorly, but she's going to make a strong middle move up the inside. And then it's a subtle idling as we go around the turn. And then it's a complete idle behind tiring horses. So this horse went off 11-1 for 12 to 1 for Safi Joseph, and really didn't have a chance late in the race. And she's expending a lot of energy getting into position. So here we come. And the other horses to mention here, the 4 is Blue Madam. This was a 2-1 favorite from Chad Brown, who raced very greenly throughout. And the 9, Connect the Stars, was 5-2. Just got an absolutely perfect trip behind the pace. I think I'm gonna make a note here. No, the Wonder Woman is the 4. So I'm sorry. It is the 4, Wonder Woman. I apologize. Yes, Wonder Woman was the 4 coming across the finish line. Yep. 3rd there. Yes, that was a pretty good run for an 11-1 shot. Who really lost it all at the gate. So there's a part of me that says this one may not get back to run here, and maybe a horse to put in your stable mail for when he goes back to warmer climes. There's still enough time, but you're right, it's borderline. Yeah, it's definitely borderline. No, it depends on how she came out of the race. Okay, the August 9th race 4. We're going to look at the head on here, and what I'm talking about here is why and when favorites lose. What happens, and you could narrow it down to a few, almost always similar reasons. This is number 4, White Palomino, off a long layoff for Chad Brown. And Brown is very good off the long layoff. And this horse got bet with both hands. And this is kind of an interesting race. As you see the 2 horses sprinting away, the fractions for this race, Seth, are 22.70, 24.48, 24.44, 23.42. That's a fast early and a fast late race under constant fractions. And what happens to this favorite is that it's fast early, and he was off in the back of the field. The field bunches up as they all move reasonably quickly together, and he's got nowhere to run. And nowhere to go. He's going to be in the red cap. He's going to be where he is right now for the entire race. Now, this is Chad Brown. He was a favorite off a long layoff. He's going to be a favorite wherever he runs. He tried to angle out. Nope. He's going to try to angle in. Nope. And it's over. Yeah.
His efforts are now over, and he's going to idle his way to the line. So, you ask, why do favorites lose? When you want to get mad at Chad, well, he couldn't control the brake, and he couldn't control the field compressing behind his horse. How else do favorites lose? They get bumped hard at the brake. How else do favorites lose? Somehow, often I think with scratches, the race dynamics actually change. So a heavy favorite who was handicapped with a full field, let's say, is now in a race where there's either more pace or less pace, or a loose on the lead. And now this favorite has to break from the gate and face a totally different race dynamic than what you or I might have handicapped for, which means you got to re-handicap a race after scratches.
Yeah, well,
and you know that there are a lot of folks, especially during the week, if they they send it in early. Off the track, they've already sent it in, and they really don't have time or an opportunity to adjust. But you have to, otherwise you rip some tickets.
Yeah, no, it's that was a good look at why favorites lose, because some horses just clearly, when you handicap, they have an edge on the field, and then they wind up running fifth, and you're kind of like, oh, that was. But you look at a race like that, nowhere to go, and as you say, pulled out, oops, still nowhere to go, and then I'll switch and go in, still nowhere to go, and then it's like too late, and then you can see the rider like, I'm not going to get anywhere. I've been stymied now 3 times, and my horse has no run.
A question I would like sometimes asked next time maybe you get a trainer is, what instructions do you give a jockey when at some point in the race they know it's over? And I'm not saying that they don't persevere through the wire. That's not the question. But I think every trainer wants a jockey to bring them back a horse that can run for the next race, who hasn't been too punished.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good question. Absolutely. If I ask a trainer, I'm not sure what answer I'll get. That's one of those I'm not quite sure.
But okay, so what I would do then is ask him off air and figure out we can ask him on air.
And then I'm not mentioning any names, but
let me tell you a story. This is true. I tried to get a trainer to be named later to come on the show. He's a claiming trainer. And I met him in the racing office, and I said, I'd like you to come on the show. And he goes, to talk about what? I said, well, I'd like you to just talk about being a claiming trainer and, your day through the condition book, and, just to inform the public. He looked at me and he said, no. No. I'm not telling anybody nothing.
I will say, when it's just something I've developed over the years, really early on. When I have trainers in, I seldom ask them, if you have a trainer in, hey, you got a couple of horses in today and tomorrow, I won't really ask too much about the claiming races, because, it's like, how much can they say? How much can you rely on? And so I don't even. Now, I did have Roddy and Jay Provenzano and claiming owners, and a lot of people have commented on that. If you didn't see it, it was a couple of weeks ago, because they gave their thoughts on the claiming game and kind of how they play it, and looking at other trainers' strategies to lead to the claim and the claiming rules. That was a fun conversation.
And that's exactly what I think the public needs in terms of the whole notion of transparency. Listen, I'm going to sit here and say the game is far more honest than it is crooked. Otherwise, I couldn't sit here, or you couldn't sit here. And so I've always advocated for the type of transparency from our training crew as they get in Europe. They're very forthcoming in Europe about how a horse has run, what their hopes are for the horse to run, and so on. I thought Mark Casse was pretty candid with Sandman.
He almost always is very candid with the
Seth,
he always is.
Everybody wants to cash a bet, but the purses are such now that you win a race.
Yeah. The one thing I'd like to see on the claiming side is, and we've seen it too often up here, if a horse gets claimed and the vet, says no and voids the claim, I want the person who made the claim to have the option. Okay, you say the claim is voided. I still want the horse, which I think is fair. But at this point, if you put in the claim, horse gets back to the test barn or whatever, and they say, no, we're voiding the claim. You don't have the option.
My question is, how does the horse who was cleared to race
get voided?
Run in a race, and then unless the horse was clearly injured in the race and demonstrates that, how does that claim get voided? The other thing, I think we talked about this last year, that a claim can get voided if some part of the slip was fudged, not fudged, but was on a technicality, if you will, a paper technicality. And so that leads to the question of, well, when I put something in, am I being forthcoming in how I fill? If I'm the trainer putting the horse in for a claim, did I fill out whatever I have to fill out to enter the horse accurately? Did I misspell my horse's name? If you misspelled the name, you can't get claimed, right? It's got to be voided.
I don't know which side that works. I don't know if it works on both sides or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that either. That's actually a good question, though, because you say somebody could like wink and a nudge. And
that's right. The horse is in for a claim, but not really.
All right. As I said earlier, we have some betting strategies as well. And you had the booklet that was available for many years.
Yeah, it's still available. I got a bunch of them.
All right.
The booklet, so I didn't bring it with me.
Keep that in mind as well. But we're going to take a look at some scenarios and then some thoughts on those scenarios as to how you may look at the tote board and make some decisions.
Okay. The context for this discussion is this. The odds board tells all, because the odds board reflects the wisdom and the opinion of everybody who's bet that race. And everything and anything that anybody and everybody knows who is bet into that particular race is factored into the odds. Now, you only have 4 race types that the public will identify for everyone to bet into. And there are 4 of them. A bet with a race with a heavy favorite. I'm going to go through the 4 and then we'll go through each one. A heavy favorite, 2 favorites 2-1 or less, a balanced race with a favorite, a second choice, and a third choice. Thank you. And then the chaos race where you have no favorite and you got 3 or 4 horses all at the same price. And we get that chaos race here quite often with baby races going long, fields of 14 and so on. So I'm making this argument that if you don't have an opinion, then you have to understand the crowd's opinion. And those of us who have been at this for more than 2 weeks, Seth, like you, we go into a race and we develop an opinion, and then we gauge our opinion against what the board is telling us the public thinks. And so for an experienced handicapper in a 1-horse race, the first decision is, do I like this favorite at 1-5, 2-5, as well as the public does? And what am I going to do if I do? And if I don't like the favorite, what am I going to do? Now, if I was Anthony Mormino, I would tell you right now, there is no 1-5 I'm going to bet on the planet. Okay? But a horse who's 1-5, 2-5, 4-5 has got a 65% chance of winning and a 75, 80% chance of running second, all things being equal. And so there's a way to bet that race. And the easiest way to bet that race is A, give the race to the favorite, throw out the second and third choice, and make exactas with longer odds to run second. Or, hey, that favorite's good enough to win. He's good enough to run second. Just put him second and hope some odds horses will beat him, but not the second or the third choice. So that's a way for everybody to leverage a heavy favorite. Of course, I'm talking single race here, not the multiple, not the horizontal. I mean, the vertical. Okay. So the second odds board is the 2 horses 2-1 or less. Well, the problem with this odds board is the crowd has limited the race to 2 horses, but they haven't picked one. And you know the rule in this game, if you choose, you lose. And so if I got up 2 horses at the 9-5 and I picked the one, Lady Luck is either going to give it to me or she's going to take it from me. And so in this case, if I can't split them with my expertise that I think I have and my opinion, and pick one that I'm going to lean on, well, then the easiest thing is to give them the race and look for someone who could split them. Because I think I used this example with you before. If I'm in a race with someone who's younger than I am, and he's expected to win, and some people might even think I have a chance to win, well, I will run alongside of him as long as he lets me. And as soon as this higher class runner runs a little faster and I try to keep up with him, I'm going to have a heart attack. And so somebody's going to clunk, he's going to win, and somebody's going to run by my dead body. And so that's, to me, is the strategy with two horses, 2 to 1 or less. We don't want to short exacta unless we really love that exacta. Paul Kornman, rest his soul, used to say, if that's what they're giving you and you like it, take it. Well, I've never really learned how to like the short exacta. So the way to play that race is use 2 of them, both of them on top in exactas, and find the most logical price horses to run between them and split them, plain and simple. Now, the third odds board is what I call a balanced odds board. Favorite, second choice, third choice. And in that race, the public is telling you, we don't love this favorite. Get the message? Now, you may like that favorite. And if it's the same favorite that David Aragona made in the morning line, it may be a good favorite. But you'd have to say that that is the most vulnerable favorite on the card. They don't love it. It's not a 1-horse race. It's not a 2-horse race. And what happens in a balance board, the people who run away from the favorite in the betting pools usually end up on the second choice, and he becomes that horse becomes an underlay. Now, the third choice in a race like this is usually 9 to 2, 5 to 1. Sometimes you can get as much as 6 to 1. And that's an $11 to a $14 ticket. And you only have to hit that twice in 20 races to be a winner, just on the win side. And that horse has, as good a probability of winning in a race like this as the not so heavily favored favorite. And so in a balanced race, always bet the third choice to win. And now you're using your win horse top and bottom with exactas, with the favorites if you like them, or with other horses. But it's always a win bet on the clear third choice. Always. In my philosophy for new people playing, and once again, if I'm talking to an audience of experienced handicappers, you're going to decide whether that third choice is the value you want and how to use him against the favorites. Now, the last board is the chaos board. 3 or 4 horses, all 3 to 1. I have an important clue in that race. The smartest guy on the track in that kind of race, in my opinion, is David Aragona, the line maker, because he made one of those horses the morning line favorite. That's his job, okay? And if the crowd has decided that David is wrong, I would bet David more often than I would bet the crowd. So my strategy there for you is where there is no favorite, you first find out who the morning line favorite was. That's your key horse. You throw out the next 2 or 3 bogus favorites, unless you believe, based on your handicapping, that they have meaning for you. And then you key that single favorite with 2 or 3, even 4, 2 or 3 price horses. And you can get a big number. You can get a big number that way. Because if David saw the morning line favorite as a soft 5 to 2 or 3 to 1, and they're letting him go at 7 to 2, and you get him in the exacta, you did okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm proposing here and a proponent of is that everything that any wise guy thinks they know is factored into the odds board as we look at it. And a type of race, a picture of a race for betting purposes emerges. And I think that informs all of us, from newbie to serious recreational handicap.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you're looking at the tote board, you just let the tote board make some decisions for you. And races, some of these situations you may have your own ideas, but some of these situations you may look up and say, I don't have a real opinion. So you're kind of letting the crowd, who is typically very crafty, make some decisions for you. But I also like the without any clear favorites, just kind of playing around a little bit. And I like that thought of take a look at the morning line favorite if that one's drifted up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tom, as always, appreciate the visit and the thoughts, some horses to watch, some betting strategies, some conversation on some of the news of the week, as it were.
And kids are just kids. Let them be kids and enjoy them.
Appreciate the visit.
Okay, my pleasure. Have a great week.
All right, we'll wrap it up for this edition of Racing Across America. Again, thanks to you for tuning in. Thanks to Mark Casse for joining us, Julia Reedy and Alex Diconza, and of course, our friend Tom Amelo. And as I say, thanks to you for tuning in. Don't forget Prize Wheel today down at the Clubhouse Racebook. So stop by and enjoy that little extra fun. Come on up to the track if you're so inclined, because it's a nice day. I heard there may be some showers later, but right now it looks gorgeous. So I'll count on that for the afternoon. Otherwise, tomorrow morning we're back. 9 a.m. handicapper support, 10 a.m. Racing Across America. See you then. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer: wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.